Hi, it's Leila. I want to talk about relationship check ins. This is a tool that I cannot believe is not just widely everywhere. I learned about it through multiamory, and it is kind of a common concept in polyamory these days, but it's something that I think is super helpful for monogamous relationships as well. Um, I've I frankly know a lot of people who are in long-term monogamous relationships telling me that long-term marriage is a sham and all of that because they're not happy and they don't want to blow up their life, but they're not really happy. And I can tell you that for me and my spouse, relationship check-ins really helped us both be happier. The concept's super simple. You set aside time on a regular basis. We do ours once a month for 2 to 3 hours um, that you use to check in on the relationship. So you talk about specifically like active listening, active, hearing, thoughtful responding to whatever concerns are coming up for each person in the relationship, followed by time to come together, cuddle, talk, do shared activities you both appreciate, and really bond, really spend one on one time bonding with each other following that kind of challenging conversation. The advantages of this are that first, you can take those things that are emotionally activating for you and put a pin in them. So we all know that there are times, or we all meaning all of us who've been in relationships that have actually worked for 15 plus years, know that there are times when your partner or you are not open to a really good communication about a thing. And especially with things that are really emotionally heightened, jealousies or envy kind of things, frustrations with the world, can create a headspace where it's very difficult to work through things in the moment. So I'm not saying everything waits. Some things do need to be addressed in the moment, but not everything does. And in those cases, my spouse and I, we can take notes, write down what's bugging us, and then bring that to the conversation when we are calm and not emotionally activated and not being pulled in 50 different directions by life, the world, and everything. And talk about it. Talk about those feelings. Um, specific example. So I like a lot of touch and affection, and my spouse finds that challenging. They were just raised in such a way that there was not much physical affection in their lives as a child. And frankly, that's just uncomfortable for them to provide a lot of that physical affection. So bringing this up in the context of every day, kind of before we had these relationship check-ins, looked a lot like me going like, please just touch me, and then being like, I don't understand what you want, I don't know how to give you what you want, I'm trying to give you what you want. But obviously very emotionally charged. So in the context of setting aside time to do this in a relationship check-in, we were able to get into more details about that, like what exactly is it I need? What works? What doesn't work? We workshopped stuff like, if I touch you like this, does that feel good today? If how can I cue you in that what I need is affection? And as silly as it sounds, it really came to, I can just ask. I can just walk up and say, hug me now, kiss me now, and they do, and that it solves a lot of the issue. I mean, it doesn't get us 100% there, but it gets us close enough where we can get there. And this time also helps us come up with like the little code phrases for things that we already know, and talk about the pain points. A lot of times what your spouse or you are actually feeling, the communication gets messed up, and the thing that is actually gonna fix it is just not what you think. And when you actually take the time to lay that out on the table, you can come up with real solutions that are workable. And then we take those and we make them experiments. We try things. So we might you're not going to solve everything, but we might decide, okay, how about for this month, let's try whenever we start spinning around a conversations we've had 100 times that we know doesn't get resolved and it's frustrating for both of us. How about we just practice saying, okay, stop. We've had this conversation. I'd like to move on to something else. And then take a beat and do that. That was an experiment that worked really well. Um, so yeah, I just really highly encourage that for any relationship, but especially those long-term ones, especially those ones where you're sharing a life and in it for the long haul. Taking the time just periodically to check in intentionally with relationship check-ins. I mean, it's been remarkable in my marriage, and I highly encourage other folks to try it. Thanks very much, and have a great day.